My husband's family called me a gold digger. They had no idea their own son walked away from millions to protect me. I met Chris in college. He never acted rich, never showed off, and never told anyone about his family. To me, he was just a kind guy who helped others, remembered small details, and always made me feel special. I was a simple girl with a normal life, and I loved him because of who he was. What I didn't know was that Chris came from one of the most powerful business families in the country, but he never cared about status or living a luxurious life. He always wanted something simple, where people loved him for who he was, not what he could provide. Then one day, Chris made a decision that changed everything. He cut ties with his family. He never explained every detail, but I knew something serious had happened. Whenever I asked about it, he would simply say that some things were better left in the past. All I knew was that Chris loved me and had chosen to start over. At first, things were incredibly hard. Chris worked one job during the day and another at night just to support us. I watched him come home exhausted, but he would still smile and ask if I had eaten. He never complained and always told me to believe in him. Slowly, things started getting better. We bought our own house, and Chris started a small business that began doing well. For the first time in our lives, we had the peaceful family we had always wanted. Then one night, everything changed. Chris was in a serious car accident and was rushed to the hospital with critical injuries. I drove there as fast as I could, terrified I was going to lose him. When I reached his room, I froze. An older man in an expensive suit was sitting beside Chris's bed, holding his hand. I recognized him immediately. He was one of the most well-known businessmen in the country. My first thought was, why is someone like him sitting beside my husband? Before I could ask, he looked at me with tired eyes and quietly said, "I'm Chris's father." I couldn't believe what I had just heard. After 5 years of marriage, this was the first time I had ever met him. Confused and angry, I asked, "If you're really his father, why did you let your own son struggle all these years?" The old man lowered his head. Then he finally told me the truth. Before Chris and I met, his family had already planned his future. They wanted him to marry the daughter of one of their biggest business partners. To them, marriage wasn't about love. It was about power. When Chris refused and told them he wanted to marry me, they gave him an ultimatum. Follow their plan or lose everything. Chris chose me, but his family refused to accept his decision. His stepmother started spreading rumors that I was a gold digger and had manipulated him into leaving his family. When Chris discovered what she had done, he confronted them. He expected his family to apologize. Instead, they defended themselves. They said they were only doing what was best for him and the family's reputation. That was when Chris finally understood the truth. They didn't see him as a son making his own choices. They saw him as someone who was supposed to continue their plans, so he walked away forever. His father admitted he should have supported his son, but he was overseas at the time. By the time he returned, Chris had already left. He tried to bring his son home, but Chris refused. Chris told him he had finally found a real family. A family built on love, trust, and respect. Not one where every relationship came with conditions. Standing beside Chris's hospital bed, I finally understood the weight of what he had sacrificed. Everyone thought I was the woman who took Chris away from his family. But the truth was, Chris was the man who gave up a fortune because he finally found something money could never buy.